Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife and Resources Agency.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on this special edition of Outdoors with Larry Ray as we kind of recap last Saturday, August the 19th, Legends of the Outdoors Hall of Fame banquet in Springfield, Missouri, and we've already had a chance to talk to Gary Mason, the founder of the event, and then Kathy Fennell being on with us, and then some guy named Kevin Van Dam, and now we're going to bring you back down to earth with my kind of guy right here. I mean, he writes, and he writes books too.
A very good writer.
How many books have you written, Tim Huffman?
9. And
9 books.
I'll have my 10th one out this year by the end of the year.
10th one out this year. How about that, Bill Cooksey? Did you hear that? I mean,
that's a bunch of books.
That's a lot of impressive.
A lot of time in front of a computer.
And he's done that. But congratulations, Tim, on going into the Hall of Fame. And I know I loved your speech and getting up there.
Right.
And as I told everybody, he had his own cheering section. You had 15 people there. You know,
Yes,
I could only get 3 to go with me. You know, I mean,
and you had to pay them.
I had to pay them. Yeah, and I'm still on time. Yeah. On time, I'm still paying them. You know, but you really that was really cool to see your table around you. Not only Jeannie, but your family and a lot of the industry people like that. And that had to be satisfying, Tim, to look out and see those familiar faces, wasn't it?
Oh, boy. It was just, I mean, you know, until you've experienced it, it's hard. You know, you just can't put it in words. But it was one of those once-in-a-lifetime experiences, and I'm just so grateful.
Well, I think a lot of that goes back to your career, and a lot of folks don't know what your career originally was. Tell them what you used to do, Tim.
I repaired medical equipment. My training was in electronics and in biomed, and so that was my primary career for a long time.
Did you hear that, folks? And he evolved into crappie, writing about crappie fishing, and your story is pretty cool about how all that happened. So tell our listeners a little bit about your path to the Hall of Fame.
Okay. Well, my writing got started by accident. It did. Me and 2 buddies, we were camping and fishing and hunting, and we were all greenhorns. I mean, we started out, we didn't have money, so our equipment wasn't good. So we went out and, you know, no experience and stuff. We had some pretty funny stories to tell. You know, they wasn't real funny at the time, but anyway, I just wrote, you know, when you talk about, you know, getting your tent in a little draw where water, you know, you got 3 or 4 inches of water coming in during the night during the rainstorm. And you know, it was just stuff like, but I'd write funny stories just for us 3.
Humor.
And, and we just passed them around. And after 4 or 5 years, I started fishing crappie tournaments at the time anyway. But I sent these humor stories out to all these magazines, you know, and I knew how funny they were. Just all of them would be jumping for them. Well, I got 2 replies from editors, and they both agreed that my humor articles were not funny in the least. But they seen that I was a crappie fisherman, and they wanted some how-to stories. So I sent them some how-to stories to look at, and like I said, in 1987, I had my first crappie article published.
1987. How many have you had since then?
How many years? 35?
You got 35 years and hundreds of stories, folks, that he has written.
Thousands.
Thousands that is, and basically, you've brought a lot of people into this sport, Tim. And I think that's your legacy. And Gary and Mason had mentioned that. I know that Cooksey will say the same thing. Ron will say the same thing. There are people out there fishing right now that either read one of your articles or read one of your books and started crappie fishing. That's got to be a satisfying feeling, Tim.
It is. It's just awesome that I may have helped some people get started in it. And on my book, Winning Crappie Secrets, about Steve Coleman, Ronnie Capps, on how to slow troll, back when they first started setting side by side, and they got that technique. You know, it was around, but they perfected it. And I had so many people come up and thank me for teaching them how to slow troll through, you know, Ronnie and Steve and that book. And I had people come up at tournaments and say, we wouldn't be tournament fishing today if it wasn't for that book. So we didn't have social media back then. The books and magazines were critical.
Yeah. So what about how did it feel to be on the stage last Saturday?
Well, you know, I was really nervous when I walked up there, but as soon as I started, well, so good. You know, I relaxed, and my son, he recorded it, so I looked it over, and I was, you know, I'm a happy person.
You are,
and I was real glad that I was smiling throughout, because that's my personality. I was scared I wouldn't, and got a few laughs, you know.
You did.
It was a very important time, but you know, I wanted to lighten it up just a little bit and kind of be myself. And I love to laugh. I love enjoying, you know, having good, clean fun, and that's kind of the way I geared it.
And you're a man of faith.
I am, absolutely. Not ashamed to. That was right in the first of my
It was right off the bat, and I think it's very evident by the lifestyle that you and your family live, and your talents that you've done. And you've got another book coming out right now, and you mentioned social media, and now you're part of the senior writer for Crappie Now. So tell our listeners a little bit about that.
Well, we started that in 2011. Danny Mueller, T.J. Stallings, and myself.
Yes.
And we had the first online crappie magazine.
First. Okay.
Ever. The first. And so we struggled a couple of years, but it started picking up, and man, the ball just got rolling. And between our magazine and social media and stuff, it's just absolutely crazy now. I was editor for 8 years, and I had a quadruple bypass, and I didn't want to mess with the pressure every month of gathering my articles and doing all that. So I bowed out as editor, but absolutely stayed on as senior writer, and I'm very proud of that. Crappie Now, both social media. About 3 years ago, I started shooting videos, which I said that would be the last thing I would ever do. But I shoot tips for them for their you know, to put on their social media and stuff, and that's actually, you know, I've had a lot of fun doing that.
And of course, that's free. I mean,
Crappie Now is free.
Crappie Now is free.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of people don't understand what does it take to be a good writer and a good video photographer, but you have to do a lot of work and a lot of research to make that happen, don't you, Tim?
We do. You know, when I get ready to go to a media event or a tournament, any type of thing, I will have pages of questions. I'll have interviews. I may have 20, 25 interviews prepared, the questions prepared on future articles or future book chapters. And I go in and, it's hard work. I mean, you got to work at it, and, you know, you got to learn how to do everything that you do.
Well, and, you know, you just hit on a point there. All of these different topics. I mean, not everybody can think of those kind of things to do. I mean, you would think that, you know, crappie fishing, oh, golly, there can only be 10 topics. Well, that's not true. And not everybody has that mind to do it. How did you grow into that, Tim, especially starting out not in the fishing world?
Well, it was, you know, I explained, how I started with the articles for my buddies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But during that time, I was learning, and I got with a friend from work who was a good crappie fisherman. We just kind of hit it off, and we learned, and we started fishing tournaments and doing well, and we did really good in our tournaments and stuff. And I learned from that, and having a background really helped me when I started asking questions and hey, why are they biting when with a little hop instead of a straight, steady pull? And I knew to ask them that because I'd experienced it and messed up with it myself.
That's right.
Anyway, so that was really important on learning and knowing how to ask questions.
Well, you're a good interview. Go ahead, Bill.
Let me jump in here because Tim said something earlier I've got to capitalize on when he talked about being an editor.
Yeah.
And I want to say, because this is a peer-to-peer recognition kind of in the Legends of the Outdoors Hall of Fame, and we've talked a lot about readers and stories and that sort of thing, and that's all appropriate. But in this case, Tim, if you had a stable of writers who treated their editor the way you treated your editors, and that's not just, I've had the pleasure of being, having you contribute to magazines, and I've talked to other editors. You're on time. You're actually ahead of time. You're fresh. It's correct.
That's right.
I mean, it's like all I've got to do when I get a Tim Huffman article is figure out how to fit it on the pages, and I want it all on there. And if you would just real briefly talk a little bit about that need for professionalism, especially in outdoor writing. A guy doing it like you do makes it a pleasure for everyone.
Yeah, you got 90 seconds to tell us that. Okay, so.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. That's a fantastic compliment. Well, it didn't matter what field, whether I was repairing equipment or writing, shooting videos, or what. I try to provide the highest quality I can. I mean, it just doesn't matter. That speaks of what you are and who you are. So it was very important for me to learn. And when I send a story to someone, I want my photos to be straight and horizontal on the whatever the horizon or the water, and I want them set to where I want the photos to teach something, and
they do.
Yes, it's just, I think it's just work ethic.
That's right.
Today, writing for outdoor magazines, I still do the same thing. However, since everyone's got a camera, things are tough in the magazine industry. I mean, they just are. Printing cost and mailing, and with everything free on the internet, it's just hard to get subscribers, and they will take some really lousy stuff. So the professional side is getting lost on a lot of stuff. And I'm really sad for that because, that's why it was. When I was growing up, I was reading Outdoor Life and Field and Stream, and they put you right in the blind with them, ready to kill that line. And they go into detail. Today, people will want tell me where that blind is and how to shoot the line so I can go.
Yeah.
And things have changed in our industry.
Yeah.
Well, Tim,
I'm not going to slough on the quality side. That's just who I am.
Well, Tim, we appreciate you being with us on this Saturday morning, and appreciate your friendship, buddy. Always good to talk to you, and we'll stay in touch. And again, congratulations on being in the Hall of Fame, buddy. All right, and have a great weekend. All right.
Okay, thank you for having me on the show, and everybody have a good time.
Thank you, Tim. Tim Huffman. Well, let's take a break, come right back, and we're going to try to hook up with the man himself, the double honoree. I mean, back-to-back. Who can do that? We'll be right back on Outdoors with Larry.